We're going to finish today beside the Shema and Sefer Shemuel Aleph. And we have in chapter 30, chapter 31 is the last chapter. Chapter 30, we said that the Plishtim go to war with the Jews. Then there's Amaleki also get involved. They kidnap David's wives and they burn the city. So David's looking for them. And he finds this Egyptian man who was a slave of the Amalekim. He tells them where to go. He finds the Egyptians. He kills them. He takes back his wives. He has all this treasure from all this that they pillaged the Amaleki. So now the pasuk says that David took all the sheep and cattle, and they said this is the Shalal David. This is the booty or the treasure of David. And then David took the 200 men who were too exhausted to go follow after him, and he said he went up to Betor Baruch, and the people over there went to meet with him, and he asked of their welfare, and they said, since they did not go with me, we will not share with them the spoils. You guys were too exhausted to follow me to the Amaleki. You're not going to get anything of what I got, except each man, his wife, and his children. Let them take and go. But David said, do not ask so, my brothers, for what Hashem has given to us, He delivered into our hands. So therefore, he says, no, I'm going to divide it equally. His men said, they didn't fight with us, they don't deserve. David said, no, it's okay, let's give them. It's fine, we'll divide it equally. He arrived at Ziklag, and he said, here's a gift for you. He gave a bunch of people over there a bunch of gifts, and the chapter ends. He officially wins that battle for them, and everybody is happy, Baruch Hashem. And then finally, the pasuk, chapter 31, so that was the fight with Amalek. So he's done with that. But there's still the Plishti war going on. So what happens? The Plishtim are fighting, on the other hand, the Jews. The Plishtim overtook Shaul and his sons. And the Plishtim, they killed who? Yehonatan, Ve'avinadav, Malkishua, Bnei Shaul. They killed Yehonatan, Avinadav, and Malkishua, the sons of Shaul. So Shaul is still fighting. So the archers found Shaul, they were shooting at him, and he was scared of them. He was about to die from the arrows. They're about to shoot him. He sees they're approaching. Shaul tells his armor carrier, his supporter, his sidekick, he tells him, listen, they're going to kill me now. Take my sword out. Shlof charbecha v'dakreni ba. He says, and stab me, kill me. Why? I don't want I don't want these uncircumcised people to stab me and to make jokes about me, make sport of me. So he's telling another Jew, kill me. And the armor bearer didn't listen. He was very scared. So Shaul killed himself samurai style. You know, the samurai, they're very into honor. So if they get a blow where they can't continue fighting and the enemy beat them basically, so they ask that their enemy don't kill them, they kill themselves. It's like an honor thing. So they carry around the small little sword like this big in order that they can kill themselves. There's a whole discussion, how did Shaul allow to do suicide? It's a sword from the Torah to do suicide. But Shaul felt it's mutar, so he said, give me my sword. He took his sword, he fell on it, and he killed himself. And then when the armor bearer saw that Shaul killed himself, he also killed himself the same way. And that day, the pasuk says, "Vayamot Shaul v'shloshet banav v'snei chelav gam kol nashav bayom hahu yachdav." Shaul, the 3 sons, and his armor bearer, all his men, died on that day. Okay, we're going to get back to that in a second, but let's finish the chapter.
Did his warriors also kill themselves?
Yes, no. His soldiers got killed because of Plishtim. But then him and his family, even his sons got killed by the Plishtim. He and his armor bearer is the only person who killed themselves. So when the men of Israel, they saw that the men of Israel fled and the Shaul, his son, has died, so they abandoned their cities, the Plishtim took over. They found the bodies of Shaul and his 3 sons. They severed his head, took off his clothes, and sent messengers in all the land to tell the Plishtim to give thanks to their gods, that they have finally killed the king of Israel, and they hung up his remains on the wall of Bet Shan. So the people of Yavesh Gilad heard about how they hung up Shaul's body parts like that. All the daring men went in the middle of the night, and they took the remains of Shaul, and they came back to Yavesh. They buried him, and they fasted 7 days. That's how the chapter ends, and that's how Shemuel Aleph ends. That Shaul dies a gruesome death, and they made jokes about him. They hung his body parts up in the air to show, like, look, we got him. And in the end, the Jews go back and they get his body back, like the hostages today, right? The hostages, they're sending the bodies back from Gaza. So they had to do the same thing. They had to get the bodies back from Shaul and his sons, and they finally gave him a proper burial. Okay, so let's see the commentaries over here. When Yaakov met Esav, right? We said this last time that the 400 men who escaped the Amalek, they were the Gilgulim of the 400 men of Esav, right? Because Amalek is from Esav. Okay, fine. So then in this chapter, in chapter 31, the Torah says you can't commit suicide. The blood of your souls I'll demand, right? So there's a prohibition in the Torah to commit suicide. It's so much so that if a person we know that he said, I'm going to commit suicide, and we saw him commit it, then you don't give him a regular Jewish burial. You know, you have to not sit shiva for him, and there's no real eulogy for him. So it's a very severe punishment to someone who commits suicide. Meaning, you're not allowed to murder anybody else. How much more so you're not allowed to murder yourself? And where's your emunah? What do people commit suicide for? Because they think there's no hope for them. Where's your emunah? I don't understand. Right? So it's a very severe thing.
Is it very separately or no?
What?
Very separately?
Yeah. It's like a rasha. He's like a rasha.
But
So now
they find excuses not to.
right, because they want to say that we don't know. A lot of times we didn't witness him commit suicide, so we don't really know if it was a suicide, and also we don't know if he was in the right state of mind. If he was fully there and he consciously made this decision, so he's a real sinner. But if a person had a lot of melancholy, a lot of the mental illness, mental health issues, he wasn't in his right mind, he was on medication, whatever. So you could say that it was a very rash decision, not in a full state of mind, the consciousness, you know. So therefore, many want to say that it's not so simple to say it's a suicide, you know. But in a case where we know for sure, so then it's a very big sin. So the question is, how is Shaul allowed to kill himself over here, right? And also we have a Gemara. What does the Gemara say? The Gemara says about Rabbi Hananiah ben Teradion, one of the 10 martyrs. They wrapped him in a Sefer Torah. They set him on fire. And to make his death slower and more torturous, they soaked sponges of wool in water and placed them on his heart. His Talmidim called him and said, listen, Rabbi, open your mouth so you should die faster. And he says, listen, I can't make myself die faster. Right? The God who gave us life is the one who's going to take it. I can't take it away myself. I can't commit suicide by making myself die faster. So then if so why did Shaul let himself die? Why did he take his own life? So you could say, number one, that because it's going to be Hilul Hashem. Because he's the king. So if they capture the king alive, what are you going to do? They're going to go and they're going to do this Hilul Hashem videos like they do. You see this Jew that you see the people taking hostage. Yeah, we have your people. What are you going to do about it? You know, God forbid they're going to go and make a Hilul Hashem.
They did the same thing though. Once they cut his head off.
Right, but it's not the same. Because it could be ongoing. Right, it could be for a long time, and it's when you see the person suffering and screaming and yelling and in pain, so it's much more. And also, Shaul felt that if he dies, the Jews will recover his body. He didn't know that the Plishtim are going to recover his body. And furthermore, Shaul felt that they're going to kill him in a brazen way, right? And therefore, he chose to be killed by one of his loved ones. What did he ask? He asked initially that he should die like a regular stab, not get his head cut off like they were going to, right? And then he thought also they were going to torture him. So over here, Tosafot brings a Hidush. He says that if a person is going to get tortured or he's going to get killed, a person rather prefer to get killed than to get tortured, because torture is worse than death, right? So the Tosafot says here, Shaul was allowed to choose death because the other choice was torture, and that's worse. So therefore, he was allowed to choose death over torture.
But even today, we know a person is in a coma or a person is something. We know he's being tortured. We're not unplugging him.
No. That's where the God's doing it, right?
It's also being tortured. God's doing everything.
Right. So over here, when a person has two ways out, right? Either to get captured, to get tortured, or to choose to die, to kill himself. Tosfot learns from Shaul's story, you're allowed to choose death. Yeah. When a person's sick, and God is making him sick, and he's suffering due to his sickness, their Tosfot says, no, that's not allowed. That's not allowed. Meaning, Hashem is at the end of the day, yes, Hashem allowed you to get taken captive, right? And the horrible torture that they're going to do to you there is also heavenly ordained. But the fact that you have a way out, then there's such a situation when you're in the hand of cruel people like that, then the Torah understands that there's a possibility to do suicide. But
So these guys who became hostages in Israel.
if they were going to torture them, they knew they were going to torture them.
Yeah, taking them to
That's
Gaza,
technically
to kill themselves.
Spies have this problem, right? Spies, they used to put a cyanide pill in their tooth.
Yeah.
If they ever should get captured, they're going to want to get information from them, so they'd rather just take the pill and die than to subject to torture and forfeit information.
That's okay.
So according to Tosfot, yeah.
Wow.
According to Tosfot, yeah. Yeah. Okay, fine.
But look, they got saved. These guys.
Yeah.
got saved.
So it's not so simple to not so simple. Okay, fine. Now what happened? And Shaul wasn't so afraid to die because he knew there was a kapara. At the end of the day, it was a kapara to die, like Shemuel told him before. He also was scared. Shaul was scared that if he gets captured, the Jews are going to try to save him, and it's going to cause more problems. He said, "I'd rather die, and that way people don't have to endanger their lives for me." Okay, fine. Yavesh Gilad had gratitude to Shaul. So what they do? They went and they tried to save his body. Why? Because you should know, a neshama is not allowed to go to its allotted portion Gan Eden until his body becomes buried. So as long as his body's not buried, and the neshama is suffering. So therefore they had a tremendous gratitude to him. So therefore they went out of their way to go and to get his body back in order to redeem his soul. Now, what did Bnei Ammon? Remember, they had a war with Bnei Ammon. Bnei Ammon gouged the eyes out from all the people in Yavesh Gilad. Yavesh Gilad was saved by Shaul, so therefore they came back and they wanted to show gratitude, and they brought back Shaul's body. Now, why did Shaul's sons get killed by a sword? Because he killed the city of Kohanim, Midah Keneged Midah, and because he didn't remove the Amalekim, he lost Malchut of David, and then he died himself because he had mercy on Agag. He should have killed Agag in a brazen way, so he died in a brazen way as
What happened with the
well.
Amalekites with David? He also fought with them, right? And what was the...
Who?
David HaMelech also נלחם בעמלק.
Yeah.
אז הוא לא חיסל אותם?
No, over there, first of all, he didn't get an explicit command to destroy Amalek. Shaul got explicit command to destroy Amalek, and he modified it. David was just fighting them because he wanted his wives back. He was just fighting them because they stole his wives and all his people's wives. Right? So it's a little bit different. Okay, fine. So that's the end of the chapter. Baruch Adonai Olam.